Okay, part 3. All right, we have talked about the whole process of tasting wine. Again, back to the original video, you look at it, you smell it, and then you taste it. It's kind of a 3-step process, or 3 big steps. Now, the video before this and the one before that, I talked about taking those first 2 steps and breaking them down even further. So you don't just, yeah, it's red, and yeah, it smells like wine, and chug it down. I mean, hopefully you weren't doing that anyway. But there's a lot more involved. There's a lot you can learn by looking deeper and smelling deeper. Now we're going to taste deeper. So let me get a pour going here. And this is the same wine I was using in the other 2 videos, so I'm not going to go into any real detail about what I'm seeing and sniffing, because I've already talked about that. But here we go again. This is Cabernet Sauvignon. Now we're going to really get into the taste. I'm going to quick sniff, because I do love it. And a little swirl there. And another sniff. Now, let's taste. What do you do when you taste? What influences taste? Now that's a big factor there. What influences? Okay, that back. I'm getting ahead of myself. So first of all, what do you do when you taste? Well, obviously you dump some in your mouth and your tongue picks up sweet and sour and salty and whatever else, bitter, I think is the other one. Well, you know, that's 4 things. So no matter how you combine them, that's not a very big range. You can't have, I mean, you can go, oh, it's all sweet, it's all salty, it's all bitter, it's all sour. I think those are the 4. And it's like, oh, it's sweet and sour. You know, it's like Chinese food or something. It's, you know, salty and sweet. It's like Snickers bar. I don't know. So, I mean, you haven't got the range there. There's more to tasting than just those 4 little zones of the tongue. Well, if you read around in it, you find out that, according to the scientific guys, that 85% of taste is coming through smell. It's like, okay, that's fine. That's all well and good. You know, I smell my food on the plate. It's wafting up at me as I shove my fork in my mouth and eat. And then I taste this wonderful stuff that I'm actually really just smelling. Well, that doesn't kind of work really well when you think about it. It's there's elements to it, yeah. I mean, the sense of smell is definitely part of eating and drinking. But, you know, when you really get it in there, how are you smelling it? You know, if you take your wine glass, you take a sip and stick it over there, well, now you can't smell it, but you can still taste it. What's happening? All right, again, back to the science part, the physiology. When you taste something, part of that is going literally through the back of your mouth up into the nose sensory organs, the olfactory perception. So it kind of like leaks from your mouth up to your nose somehow. Yeah, look that up in a science book, and you can get the diagrams of how that fits together. That's not my line. I like wine. I don't want to talk about biology and physiology that much, but it is good to know. Now, another factor on that, this is one that I found out about, kind of in a roundabout way, but the roof of your mouth, the very what's also referred to as the palate, you know, just the part that goes over the top. If you take your tongue and push up on it, it's the part your tongue hits. So, roof of your mouth. That's the American expression for it. There might be other ones elsewhere. But anything you eat actually, to a degree, seeps through there into the nasal passages. So you are actually, to a degree, smaller degree, but to a degree, smelling through your mouth. If you were to take a piece of plastic or something like that and kind of put it across the roof of your mouth and fix it so it was tight there, take a sip of wine, you would taste a whole lot less. You will be amazed at what that is. I mean, that's an experiment to try when nobody else is around, so they don't think you've gone nuts. But yeah, try it sometime. If you're wear dentures, full plate dentures, you're actually getting it that way. So if you do wear dentures and you're watching this and have a glass of wine, take them out and notice the difference. You know, just pull them out, take your sip, and you will probably experience a lot more flavor than you realized. And it's kind of unfortunate if you're one of those people that does have to do that and has the full plate. You are missing out on flavors, but you're still getting a lot from wine. I don't mean to say that you're so handicapped that it's beyond hope, but it's, and that sounded really bad, I apologize. But, you know, it's just one of those things. You know, if you've got a situation you have to go for dentures, It does happen. I mean, I've had family members that way, so it's not unusual, not uncommon, but it does affect your sense of taste. Just be aware of that. So I'm just saying this as a point of illustration. Okay, let's get back to what you should be tasting. Now, you've obviously got the flavors. We've talked about that a million times. You taste this, you taste that, you taste the other thing. But you really need to look for more than just flavor. I know I've mentioned this one too, is mouthfeel. If you eat, let me think of something, Jell-O. Most people have tried Jell-O before. If you haven't, well, in my opinion now, you're not missing much. When I was a kid, I loved this stuff. But you put it in, and it kind of squishes around and breaks up, and then turns liquidy, and you swallow it. So there's some mouthfeel there. There's some texture going on. What are you feeling when you eat Jell-O? And don't answer that. That's rhetorical. But I do want you to answer this. What are you feeling, not tasting, but feeling when you drink wine? So take a sip, let it roll around on your tongue, back and forth, to the front and the back. Try not to choke on it. I tend to do that myself. But keep it under control. There's a feel to it. If you happen to have another glass of wine or another bottle of wine open, get a different glass and compare the two. Maybe you've got something really light on one side and really heavy on the other side. Heavy and light, what do I mean by that? A light feeling on the tongue is something that's more watery. It's like, you drink a glass of water, that's about as light as you can get for mouthfeel. Unless you are, I don't know what, eating whipped cream or something, it kind of evaporates there. So water is about the lightest standard mouthfeel that you can get. If you were drinking syrup or honey, for example, that's a pretty heavy mouthfeel. You're going to feel that on your tongue, literally feel the weight of it. And it's going to coat your mouth and stick there for a while until you gradually swallow enough and it works its way out. So, honey, molasses, those are a huge mouthfeel. You won't get that in a glass of wine, I hope. But you kind of take that range between water and molasses, shrink it down, it's something more manageable. Well, that's where your wine fits in. You can, this is water, I should do it this way. If this is water and this is honey, then you've got this huge gap. Now you take a fraction of that, you move both ends in, probably the honey side more, but you go from water to wine on the light side, so you got a little bit of difference there. If you drink a really light wine, it's going to still have more mouthfeel than water, but not much. And then all the way up to a much heavier wine. So this one is a little bit past medium. It's between medium and heavy on my personal scale. But I drink it, I feel something. I feel, I can feel it coat my mouth and my tongue, and that is the mouthfeel. I guess the only way to experience it is to try different wines of different weights and see it for yourself. Okay, when I drink this one, it feels this way. When I drink that one, it feels a different way. This one, okay, well, that one kind of feels light to me. It's a quote-unquote light white wine, so it should have a light mouthfeel to it. So kind of use that as a gauge. Most white wines will be lighter than red wines. There are exceptions. Really big, heavy-duty Chardonnay, it can have as much mouthfeel as a big red wine. So be aware of that. If you're drinking something that's light and crisp, that will be your lesser mouthfeel. Okay, so mouthfeel, big point there. What else we got? Okay, perception of tannin. When you drink a tannic wine, Cab Sauv for example, you're going to feel the tannins in there. They're going to coat your tongue in a different way, not to be confused with mouthfeel, but you, to a degree, may feel like grittiness in your mouth. And you take your tongue and you rub it against the roof of your mouth. You're going to feel something there. That's a different type of texture. So you're actually feeling the tannins as well as tasting them. They do have their own flavor, but they also have their own mouthfeel. So again, something to be aware of. As you take a sip and feel it go from the front of your mouth to the back or from side to side, notice the different flavors in each part of your tongue. You will have a different perception. So that's where your taste is a little different. Now you're not looking, does it taste like cherry or does it taste like chocolate? How does it taste? What is my sense of perception on the left side versus the right side, the front, the back, the middle? The front tastes this way. You may not even have words to describe it, but you can feel it. The tip of your tongue will feel one way in terms of the flavor. You'll get a flavor in the front and a flavor in the middle, different flavors on the sides and back. So it's real hard for me to articulate what those are, but they are there. Try that out. Be very aware. Okay, here's what I feel on this part or that part or the other part. So give that a try. These types of things work with any wine. It doesn't have to be just what I'm drinking right now. And then you want to perceive the degree of acidity. How acid is it? Where is that tartness coming? Is there any tartness? Is there sweetness? Is there something that gives the impression of being sweet without being sweet? Usually you'll find this in what's called a fruit forward. Oh, I'm getting this big mass. It tastes like I just ate a bowl of plums or something. Well, that's your fruitiness coming out. And that's a good thing. I like it. I like big fruit forward wines. If you don't like them, then, well, you don't. But I mean, it's, again, personal taste or preference there. But notice it. Is it very fruit forward? Are you tasting a lot of fruit? Are you tasting more acid? Are you tasting more of something else? Be aware of what those tastes are. And again, you're not really so much trying to say, oh, this tastes like this or it tastes like that, but be aware that you are tasting different things in different parts of your mouth and at different times in that taste. It may start out very fruit forward and kind of drift off into something else. Now, there's another one. You've got the start of the taste and the middle of the taste and the end of the taste. So you've got this progression of flavor and experience. The very first thing you taste will probably not be the same as the last thing you taste on a single sip. So let me give you an idea here. Okay, this one starts out and I get a lot of acid right up front. Then I start getting the tannins, and then the fruit comes into play. So I've got 3 different waves there. And even right now, I'm still getting a slightly different flavor note, and I can't even describe what it is. This is the finish, the very last part. You kind of go up, you taste, a big bang, and then it tapers off, and they go for a long time to drift off. Well, the longer you can taste it, regardless of what that taste is, that's referred to as the finish. A very long finish or a very short finish. It's like bing, bang, and you're done. Versus, and goes on and on and on and on and on and on. So, yeah, long finish. I feel like you get more for your money that way. You get a long finish on something. So that's another one to be very aware of. The differences from the start, the middle, the end, and the ultimate finish. What are you tasting at all those different points? And it's not something you can just easily say, oh, I taste this, and I taste this, and I taste that, and then I taste that. It doesn't work that way. Some of these are very difficult, at least for me, to identify. I get sensations, the sensation of acid. Acid doesn't have a flavor by itself, but it's got that tartness, gives you that puckeriness. Tannins can give you a different puckeriness than acid. It's the difference between eating a lemon and tasting some tea, for example, that's been sitting around a long time. Lots of tannin in the tea, but not really acid. Eat a second lemon, lots of acid, but no tannin. Both are kind of astringent in the mouth, but they're very different. So, lots of things going on in a glass of wine. And the more you taste, the more you look and perceive and pay attention to that, the more you're going to be amazed at what's in your glass. So now that's, I've still only scratched the surface on these 3 items. The visual part, the olfactory, the smell part, and the tasting part. There's just a wide range of things that you can go for there and really explore. And I encourage you to do that. There's no way I can talk about it in videos. in its completeness, because I don't think I've experienced the completeness myself yet. I'm always finding new things in wine, and I've been drinking it for a lot of years. So, yeah, with that, I hope that you're a young person and you have a lot of years of wine tasting to look forward to. If you're an old geezer like me, well, hang in there and keep trying for as much as you can. So enjoy your wine, get the most out of it. Yeah, I get the fact that you're not going to go into a restaurant with all your buddies and spend 20 minutes tasting a single taste or something like that. That's fine. But when you've got the time, you're just sitting back and kind of winding down with your wine. We'll plug there. Take those moments. Really enjoy that one. Get into it. What is in here? What do I like about that? Why do I keep drinking? Why do I keep coming back to it? Well, you answer your own questions. You enjoy this, you enjoy that, you find new things. So I encourage you to do that. Explore your own wine as much as you possibly can. Enjoy it with your friends. If your friends are avid wine drinkers, explore together. Take a time. I invite a couple friends over and say, let's really explore some wine. I just picked up a really good bottle of whatever you picked up. Let's share that and let's really analyze it and look at it. Now, if you hate doing that stuff, that's okay too. But it's there. So if you ever want to do it, now you know how. All right? Cheers. I'm going to smell it before I swirl it. And then I'm going to do another one. It's kind of a bottom to top, or you may prefer top to bottom. And when I say that, I'm talking going up and down the glass. I'm going to smell it and just continuously sniff it in as I go up. That works better for me. Some people prefer to start at the top and go the other way. Same thing, you just get stuff in reverse order. Now, this is what you want to do when you first pour it. And at this point, I'm kind of past that point, but I'll give it a try.